Hello everyone, here we want to start a new course of the VBA programming in the Microsoft Excel. As you know, VBA is stand for Visual Basic for Application, and it's a program language for using it in the Microsoft Office. You can use it in the Microsoft Office Excel, Access, PowerPoint, Outlook, Word, and so on. So if you are learning VBA, you can have an automatic Excel file or Access file or whatever software you are using. Right now you can see an Excel file that uses VBA programming to create an invoicing software. By using this software, I can select my products which I sold to the customer. I can add this product to the invoice, and I can publish this invoice and print and give it to my customer, and do lots of things by using the VBA programming, and actually making a software which is good for using. Also, if you want to see more software which are developed based on the Excel and VBA, you can go to our website diaco.co.uk. We developed lots of software there that may be useful for you, or you can learn from them how to code in the Excel file. So we want to start learning this VBA to enable us to do such things. So before we go to the VBA programming, if you do not have any knowledge of the VBA, we have to start with the macros in the Excel. And after we introduce you the macros, we will see how we can edit these macros, and we will see how we can go to the VBA programming IDE, which is the environment to enable us to programming with the VBA. So first we take a look at the macros, and then we see IDE, and then we introduce you a little concept of the programming, and then we go to see the basic of the VBA programming together. So let's start with the macros. First, when you open your Excel, when you open a new Excel, let's open a new Excel file. I can use this one. I want to close this Excel because we are not in the place to talk about the codes of this Excel file. We will see throughout this course how I use VBA programming to generate these buttons here, and how I can use VBA. But right now let's have a new Excel file. In this new Excel file, for example, you want to use macros. The macro is a tool in the Excel that records every steps that you take in the Excel. So for example, right now I want to input some values in these cells, and then I want to make a copy of these values into another sheet by using the macros. So for example, I have 3 values here. If you go left down side of the Excel, you can see macros here. If you click here, the macro tool will start, or you can go to the view tab and use the macros here as well. So you can choose this little arrow here, view your macros, or start recording this macro. Pressing this button is the same as pressing this one as well, so you can use both of them. So press record button. You can name your macro, for example test macro, and you can assign a short key. For example, I want to assign Control T, a small cap T, with do not using Shift T. If you use Shift T here, you can see it change it to the Control Shift T, and you can use capital T. You can have some description for future. If you in the future open this macro, you want to edit it, this description can be useful for you. So and then you can press OK. You can choose if it's work to this workbook or another, it's a personal macro in the workbook, or you can use it in a new workbook. That this workbook is okay. So press the OK button. After that, you can see an error that say that the syntax of this name isn't correct. That's because you do not allow to have a space or unusual, for example, this little line here in the macros. You can have underline, or you can just have a simple test macro without any spaces. So after that, if you press OK button, you will see this bottom little square here is now showing you the macro is currently recording. So for example, right now I had these values. I want to select these, so macro record that I select these values. I want to press Ctrl C to copy that macro record that I copy these values, and then go into the sheet 2 and macro records that I went to the sheet 2, and then in the cell A1 I select cell A1 and then press Ctrl V. So macro record that I paste I use Ctrl V button in my keyboard and then paste this value. After that, I wanna stop the macro. After that, you see the macro is stopped, and if you go to the macro view macros, you can see your macro here. So by default, if you come here, for example, write A, B, C, and now if you run your macro, go to the view macros and then run your macro, you will see in the sheet 2 these values are copy pasted here as well. So what about my short key? For example, if I change this to Armin, Arash and Yasaman, and then I hold Ctrl Shift and T button together, you will see your macro is run, and you will see Armin Arash Yasan is copy pasted into the sheet 2. So you can use the macro to automate some works in the Excel when you have repetitive works. For example, every day you came here, paste some values here, and then you want to copy paste it into the sheet 2. You can use it just by holding Ctrl Shift T. And you need to remember that the macros are really unstable. For example, if I be in my sheet 3, if I open the sheet 3 button and then I go to the macros and view macros and run my macro, you will see it's copy pasted an empty values, because my active sheet is the sheet 3s, and macro cannot understand if one and assume whenever the sheet is active. For example, sheet 3 right now is active, it's copy paste these values here. And for example, if you be in a sheet 2 and use your macro, you will see the copy pasted this value from sheet 2 is copy pasted to the sheet 2. So it's highly dependent on which sheets is active right now, and then after the active sheet you run the macro. So be aware of that. You may get some errors by some macros because of instability of programming with automatic programming with the macros. And also, when you want to save your Excel file which contains the macros, if you go to the file and press save as, for example, your desktop, if you want to save right now this Excel file, if you press save, it shows you an error that it's say that your Excel contains VBA project, macro project, and right now you want to save it as a macro free workbook. So if you want to save this workbook, you have to go to the save as type and select Excel macro enabled workbook, and then press the save button. So in the next video, we will talk how we can edit the macros to have more stable program or script. Thanks for watching. Until next video, goodbye. In order to watch more training videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Diaco Ltd. And if you want to see our products, please visit our website, diaco.co.uk.